Dallas-based attorney Jeremy Rosenthal. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live and Now from Fox. And of course, we don't know a ton of information. No charges have been filed yet. But according to that complaint, what are potentially the next moves in this investigation?
If the police decide that there's enough evidence here to arrest him, then they would. It sounds like the assault that if he committed an assault at a nightclub in Dallas, it sounds like it would be a misdemeanor assault. That's not good, but it could trigger a revocation of the bond that he's on the felonies for that car accident, for the 8-car pileup that he caused or is accused of causing on North Central Expressway in Dallas. So that's really the bigger problem here for him, is that it definitely looks like there's a pattern starting to develop, a young man that may very well be out of control.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, when you hear the name Rasheerice, you think of Super Bowl champion, but you think of most recently that street racing incident. He's facing felony charges there after leaving the scene as well. We've been following that. We've been talking with you about it. Give me more of a breakdown. Obviously, these are two very isolated incidents, but how might this incident impact that other one?
Well, if I'm the prosecutor, then what I'm doing is I'm seeing if I can prosecute him for the new assault. And what I'm thinking of doing is I'm probably trying to take away his bond, get him rearrested potentially. And that's going to kind of strengthen my hand on there. For the defense, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kind of sweep this under the same rug. I mean, what I would do if Rasheerice is coming to talk to me, we're going to talk about substances and substance abuse to see if there's a common denominator here. Now, on the accident that we're seeing there on our screen right now, I mean, that's the racing incident that was caught on somebody's dash cam. He got away or left the scene there, so we don't know whether or not he was impaired. Maybe there was impairment, maybe there's not. But if he's also at a nightclub and the common denominator there could be alcohol or it could be some other kind of substances. If that's the issue, then it actually becomes a little more explainable for him, right? That the problem is not him. The problem is not that he's just a bad apple. The problem is that he just doesn't suck as a human. The problem is that he's got a problem or issues that he needs to solve in his personal life. Doesn't mean he's going to completely evade responsibility, but it gives you something to work on.
Yeah, and I think we're going to go with that accountability kind of issue that maybe stems at the center of all of this. I remember when we spoke last time about that street racing incident, about the charges being filed by that, the NFL felt like they might have stepped in that, hey, Rasheerice, you need to take accountability. Is the NFL watching this as well, and maybe how will they influence something like this?
Oh, you better believe they're watching this, and you better believe that that this was a topic today in Roger Goodell's office. I'm pretty sure of it. In my limited football career, I can tell you that, right? I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to know that that's what they're concerned about, and that's what they're worried about with this, what has got to be just a PR nightmare. But yeah, what happens with cases like this, and you and I talked about it, Andy. It's been a little bit. But what happens is the NFL, this young man has an agent, and that agent is really close to him, and they have a very tight relationship. And the agent's also in communication with the league. They're talking about these things, and he's worried about the Chiefs. He's worried about his next contract. He's worried about his future, and he may be more worried about that than he is the court system. And so the NFL, his agent, all these things have tremendous sway about how Mr. Rice conducts his legal defense, because even though his lawyer is telling him, look, well, the right play here is to do X, Y, and Z, if his agent's telling him something completely different, chances are he's going to go with the agent because he knows where his bread's buttered.
Yeah, that is a very good point. There's a lot of different things being pulled in his direction for Rasheerice. And we heard from Rice's attorney, Royce West, after that felony or street racing incident. Do we expect potentially comments to try to get out in front of this one as well?
He offered no comment yesterday, at least to the Dallas Morning News. I think he's kind of waiting to see what happens here. He's waiting to see this formulate a little more. I've also read a few other things that show that maybe this is really preliminary, and he may not be a suspect, or this may not be an offense. We'll see. Even if he is just in the wrong place at the wrong time, I can't imagine the NFL is happy that he's at a nightclub while he's on bond for all of these things. So at a minimum, he's got a PR problem within the league. I think if more facts arise, I would certainly expect to hear something from Mr. West's office.
All right, that's very, very interesting. Of course, potentially could be at the wrong place at the wrong time. No charges filed yet after this alleged assault there at this Dallas Nice Field. Anything else that comes to mind that you want to note for our audience before I let you go here, Jeremy?
I think what happens here is if he's arrested, I don't know that his felony bonds necessarily get taken away. I suspect a deeper dive into this young man's personal issues is going to be what his lawyer does, and possibly even the DA's office, because a lot of times what they're looking for is common denominators. And maybe there's none. Maybe the common denominator is that we've got an immature young man. I hope that's not the case. But maybe the common denominator is something that is a little more fixable and workable. Maybe, unfortunately, a lot of times it can be substance. Sometimes it can even be mental health. We just don't know at this point. It's really, really early. But obviously, something's going to have to change with this guy, because you and I, Andy, we're talking about him more than he would like.
Yeah, correct. More than we would during the NFL season, which is not a good thing for Rasheerice, for the NFL, for the Kansas City Chiefs, for everyone involved. All right, Jeremy, thank you again. We appreciate your time here on Live Now.
Take care.